Leader of the Sunday Night Football team on NBC. They'll be broadcasting Bills Patriots on NBC Sunday Night Football. It's Mike Tirico joining us. And Mike, thanks for the time as always. I'm sure you've already combed through this pile of notes for this game already, so I won't feel shy in asking you this question. What has been more impressive to you about Drake Maye's play through the first month? How efficient and productive he has been on third down, where he leads the league, or just in his overall production? Because I know he's got 9 offensive touchdowns through 4 games, and only Lamar and Josh have more than him.
Right. I think the overall, I think the year 2 feel to this is a lot more comfortable than some of the other quarterbacks who had maybe a bigger splash last year. I think he looks calmer. He looks confident. Josh McDaniels, I think, is a big factor in that. And I think we're starting to see that with him. You know, sometimes that third down statistic is a virtue of third and what, right? Were they in a lot of third and longs, third and mediums? And they've been managing. They've run the ball effectively. This is an offense that's got a lot of diversity to it. They don't go deep down the field as often, but they've got a lot of options with both tight ends, multiple receivers, and the 3 backs they're using. I think Drake Maye has been put in a position to succeed. Defense is playing well enough. Offense has a lot of options. Young line in front of him playing well. So I would say just the field generalship, the way he's kind of maturing into the position is what is sticking with me as I've watched 2 of their 4 games. I'm going to watch the other 2 here later this afternoon around the baseball playoffs here and there.
Yeah, I've been wearing my partner Brownie here out by telling him this game has all the earmarks for me of a rock fight. I mean, I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be a Baltimore Buffalo game 42-41 or 41-40. I think it's going to be one of those times where both teams feel like they're not playing very well. You're going to look up and it's going to be, 17-14 midway through the fourth kind of thing. Mike Vrabel has the ability to get that out of his team and keep it close for, it's a division game. So one possession game kind of this smells a lot like that, despite, how well Buffalo's offense has played to this point.
Well, Steve, you've lived hundreds of those division games, whether playing in them or calling them or watching them over your years in the league. And division games just have a little different feel to them. And I think this is part of that. And here's Mike Vrabel making the first statement of where this is. Again, this is division. I don't need to tell anybody who's watching this that they owned and now you own, right, in Buffalo. And to be the best, you got to beat the best. That's the old line. And this is, if you're building a new era in New England, you're looking at what is Buffalo doing, and you're spending probably more time thinking about game planning for, even personnel selections for, how do we stop a Josh Allen in our division before you're worrying about what Miami and the Jets do. It's just that's simple. That's the way football has worked forever. And I think those tendencies lead to these division games being tighter sometimes than the talent gap between the 2 teams. And perhaps we've seen that already in the Miami game up there earlier this year. So I'm totally with you. I think this could be a tight game. I don't expect a lot of explosives on both sides of the field for that reason. I think if it gets a higher scoring game, advantage Buffalo. I think they've got more of the ability to do that, and have done that more than New England has done. But New England took care of all their opportunities that Carolina gave them last week and flipped the field in special teams. And I'm speaking to the godfather of special teams here. I don't need to say this on a show that Steve Tasker's on, but when you look at the performance of the special teams of the New England Patriots thus far this year, that's a place where the Bills are going to be challenged. And Chris Tabor's on his 3rd punter in 4 weeks and 3 kickers in training camp. It hasn't been smooth and easy on that end. And it's going to be tested and challenged. This Patriots bunch, not just that one return that you saw for the touchdown, but all of their returns in general. Very, very solid group.
Yeah, they're going to have their hands full there for sure. I think most people the past couple of years would have, if you were asked to describe the Bills' run game, would probably say they are run game capable. This year, I think it's gone another step. They're run game dominant, first in the league, as you well know, and you got a taste of that when you were here in week 1. But I wonder if this is probably the toughest run front they will face thus far. I mean, the Patriots have done a good job of slowing down some opponents' run games here in the first month of the season. Mike, what do you see there? Because that looks like a strength-on-strength kind of matchup.
Yeah, Chris, I'm just going through in my head what they've seen so far, and Baltimore started to get injured up front in terms of the run game when we saw them in week 1. But yeah, it probably is the best test so far. And New England does it a different way with a bunch of guys. Milton Williams obviously has a Super Bowl ring from his Philadelphia time. So you've got one guy up there up front that you're watching, and somebody who you try to get two bodies on and double team. But I'll lean back to these couple of items as I look at the numbers there for the rushing yard leaders. James Cook is taking more of the snaps here now. This was a uniqueness of the Buffalo operation last year where no running back played over 50% of the snaps for the entire season. And now you look at it, and James is becoming much more of the guy. And perhaps the continued development up front of that offensive line. And also, I'll tell you guys, traveling around doing games with different teams every week, it's so fun to put on Buffalo and see usually the same 5 guys across the front. And Spencer Brown out last week. Oh, wait a minute. This is something new. It's different because the Bills have had so many snaps with that core 5 together the last couple of years, probably more than any 5 offensive linemen have played together. And that matters. That allows you to pick up everything that's going on and do things that are unscouted, uncoached, and adapt to them. So anything they see in the game, they've seen it, done it at the highest level. So all those factors in, I think that gives you that run game. Plus, once Josh runs for 15 or 17, it changes the temperature a little bit. The Patriots haven't given up 50 yards to a running back in a game in the first 4 games here this year. So they are good at it. They focus on it. They crash those guys inside up front. And that'll be a place to watch as the game goes on. Can the Bills control the line of scrimmage on offense at their will and at the times they want to?
And you look at what the Patriots have been through now. Their schedule, it is what it is. They played Carolina last weekend. The special teams really, it's almost a film you almost have to throw out offensively and defensively because, the Patriots had no time of possession. They got beat by 10. The Carolina Panthers had all these statistics because the Patriots had a short field. They were scoring on special teams. Their offense wasn't asked really to carry the load, and Carolina was on the field offensively because of all. You really almost throw that Carolina game out. What is the identity offensively? I know Drake Maye, we talk about him and the running game. Right. What about the skill play? Mac Hollins and Steph Diggs are people that here in Buffalo we're very familiar with.
Yeah, that's the headline in terms of the matchup, right? Having those guys come back in. But you have a couple of tight ends who have played a lot of good football in this league as well and are 10-year vets. You rarely have a team where you have 2 10-year vets at tight end, but New England does. So that gives them the option, Steve and Chris, to do stuff when they want to use 2 tight ends on the field at the same time. All 3 backs have played and have roles, and other receivers as well. Kayshon Boutte looks as good as he has in his career with this offense and with Josh McDaniels calling the plays. And so I mentioned a lot, and you mentioned Diggs and Hollins, obviously. They had a guy last year in Pop Douglas who has not played as much because of the emergence of the other and the acquisitions of the other ones. So that's about 7, 8 skill players who can touch the ball. And we are all into the everybody eats mode in Buffalo. It's not too dissimilar in New England, where there is not, okay, there's Justin Jefferson, we have to eliminate him from the game. There's Derrick Henry, we have to stop him. There's not really that one guy who rises all the way up to the top of the board on Wednesday and you say, this is the focus of everything we do. Everybody does a pretty good job. And those are the teams, I think, that last, right? Those are the teams, I think, they keep you in games because you start to take away one thing, they've got something else to go to that has worked. So I like what Mike Vrabel is building there. I think that roster, when you look back, that Gerard Mayo had last year was a poor roster. I don't know who, as a coach, could have had success with that roster. But this year's turnaround of personnel and talent there is noticeable. We had them at the end of the preseason last year against Washington and walked away saying, boy, they don't have much here. They come back to see them for us for the first time 14 months later, feel much different about this team. I do not think this is an easy game for the Bills, who honestly, the 4 teams they've played have 2 total wins. Buffalo's contributed to that, no doubt, but you got a couple of winless teams and 2 one-win teams. So I think the Bills still have room to play their best football as we go through this month of October.
Talking to Sunday Night Football play-by-play man Mike Tirico, and we should note Sunday Night Football, Primetime's #1 show for an unprecedented 14 straight years, and through week 4, you, Chris Collinsworth, and Melissa Stark are killing it. Sunday Night Football on record audience pace, 25.5 million viewers, so congrats on that. And since you do get around the country, as you said, Mike, I kind of want to get your 10,000-foot view on this, if I could, because you mentioned how New England's using 2 tight ends. We know the Bills have used 2 and 3 tight end sets. We've even seen some of Buffalo's opponents lean that way. The Saints last week with a lot of 13 personnel. How big a movement are we witnessing here with the resurgence of multiple tight end sets?
Yeah, I love it, Chris, because we were just talking about this last week. This goes cyclically in the NFL, right? Everybody's spread out with 3 receivers and, getting fantasy points for everybody. And then now you kind of bring it back a little bit, physical, and hammer people. I remember when Bill Belichick put a fullback back on the roster about 14 years ago, nobody has a fullback anymore. And then that trend started a little bit. That's one of the fun parts of football is as things evolve and adjust. And I think we're seeing, when you go out there on the field with spend money on nickel corners, right? And Taron Johnson, you guys have one of the best. Can that nickel tackle? Yours can. Not every team's can. And because of that, people want to run the ball. And now we get you into linebackers on the field. And these tight ends and running backs who can catch the ball, they become difference makers. So it's a cyclical part of the league. It is fun to watch and see as you go around. And you're right. We hit it on the head here over the last couple of weeks. And a team like Baltimore, where we didn't see it as much, will get to more of that as Isaiah likely gets back in the lineup with Mark Andrews. I mean, shame on me, Chris. In our business, we always like to identify the right guy. I knew Dawson Knox wasn't on the field in the Baltimore game. I for sure thought that pass had to be to Kincaid. I did not think it was going to be to Jackson Haas because we watched Jackson at practice. We talked to the coaches about him. We knew that he was going to be a factor in blocking, and everybody was effusive in how great a blocker he was. And there was week 1 making this big play down the middle, and that now makes him even more impactful. Thanks for showing the clip. Don't listen to the audio too.
I've been there, Mike. I know it.
Knox and Kincaid, 86 and 88. They're hard to discern. I mean, I don't know.
Knox wears red gloves, if that helps.
I was just going to say, I've got those 2. When I saw the 8 and the 5 and the 6 isn't too dissimilar, as you can see as he's going there, I'm like, oh, there's no way. Wait a minute, that's Haas? That's crazy. Just a little announcer panic for the week. Hey, the whiteout sounds great. The uniforms look amazing. I've got a feeling the numbers are going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, you might be right.
I think you might be right.
I am prepared for one of those nightmares where I'll say to America, hey, if your son or daughter is playing in the game, I'm going to apologize right now because I might not be able to tell who it is. Thank goodness it's in this stadium and so close to the field. There they are. They look beautiful. They are very cool, very chic. I think the place will look awesome with everybody wearing white, but I don't know about those silver numbers. We'll hold our thoughts on that until we see it on Sunday night. But this is a factor in this Buffalo team. Back to your original point, Chris, that I think is going to be valuable going forward. 3 tight ends, they can all play, they can all do a bunch of stuff. It just messes with defenses. So it advantage you if you've got 2 good ones, and I think Buffalo's got 3 good options here.
It's interesting because we take calls all the Bills fans are all over this team all the time, and they know every in and out. And one of the things that we struggle with, we even had this conversation today, where the Bills offense doesn't operate a lot like other offenses. Meaning, 1 week Khalil Shakir has 12 targets. The next week he doesn't. He has 2 targets, and Keon Coleman has 12 targets, and James Cook has 8 targets. The dot moves around on this offense. Right. You don't know which guy, this everybody eats mentality, and people don't know what to make of it on a week-to-week basis. They'll say, why did they forget about Dalton Kincaid this week? And I made the comment, you can miss me with all that because they're still scoring 30 every week, and if it works, go with it. But it is an offense that poses unique problems.
No doubt, Steve. And what the answer to that question is, when a defense takes something away, what do you have? And playing New England brings back that perfect point. Bill Belichick was famous for being the guy who made you play, quote, left-handed, took away what you do best as an offense or a defense, whatever it is, to make you play not from your position of strength. If you can do both, then you're all right. So Buffalo last year would bring on the extra linemen and go six linemen and run and slow the game down. Now the team has the ability to spread it out to everybody, the multiple tight ends, all the receivers, the backs out of the backfield, Josh taking off, and can do that. So when you go up against a really good defense, and I think there are a few coming here down the line, although the schedule looks very promising. Like if you get out of football mode and go into fan mode, this schedule looks really good. The feeling of a special year is just, I think, going to build health willing in Western New York. But when one of those teams has an answer for you on that day, I think you have an answer by going to a deeper part of the playbook. And look at what Brady has on that play sheet. Joe can get to a lot of different stuff with a lot of different guys. And you can't walk in and say, if we take away this guy from Buffalo, we win the game. That guy happens to be Josh Allen, and you just can't take away the MVP of the league and the way he's playing right now. So feeling really great. Like if you took a temperature of how good do you feel in the first month of the season, Buffalo fans probably a tick over Philadelphia fans. Although if I was the Eagles, I'd feel great. But Philly fans don't tend to feel positive. Yeah. I can't think of any other fan base or fans that would feel better about their team, knowing that the Bills haven't played what is their best game yet. I think they still have plenty of room to improve. I think the coaches would tell you that. Chris and I talk about this a lot, and he started this a couple of years ago, and I think he's right. September's become like the glorified preseason, where it takes a little bit to figure out who's good and what teams are. And I think now we know. And I think when we look around the league, this is as good a team as anybody in the NFL again. So let's be on the ride. Let's enjoy the ride for the next few months.
Mike, thanks for the time as always. I know you have to be objective on NBC when you do these games, but if you have an Al Davis top to bottom white suit, don't be shy about wearing it for the whiteout.
Al Davis, great Syracuse alum. I got the orange back over here over my shoulder. Great Syracuse alum. Wonderful guy, but I do not look good in a white suit. I will absolutely spill food on it. So I'm gonna stay in something dark with the stain from the sauce on the wings will blend in.
Yeah, perfect. Fair enough. As always, thanks, Mike, and safe travels up here to Western New York.
Pleasure, guys. Look forward to it. Can't wait. Thanks.
All right, that's Mike Tirico, Sunday Night Football play-by-play announcer.